I want to hear their message, because that's journalism, that's media, that's journalism, that's where I get my news. I listen to the voices of the indigenous peoples who are talking about compassion. And so this is a very slippery slope. All right, so if they can get us in a stampede of fear about a bad guy in Syria, like a guy named Assad, he's a bad guy, and Gaddafi was a bad guy, and Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, and the Taliban was a bad guy. Each one of them a really profitable war and a securing of an area for the unlimited extraction of oil to fuel the world economy for as long as we can profit from it. Now, that's a synthetic business model construct. Did you get that? So, the bigger they get, these corporations. Too big to fail, we were told in 2008. Too big to fail. And then the ones, it's interesting, 2008 to now, the ones that were too big to fail got a lot bigger. So it's time for us, I gotta end this because I do these too long and then people don't want to listen. I want people to listen. I think I figured this shit out. And it wasn't all me, I just investigated it. That's our natural state is that we're adventurers. We investigate and explore stuff. And we look for things we can discover. A new thing. The discovery of a new thing is an absolute thrill to the human being in our natural state. Children know this. And then we put them through a meat grinding public school system that basically forms them into, again, Orwellian, like George Orwell couldn't have written this. That turns them into obedient workers, looking for direction, ready to follow. Lemmings. Disposable resources. Do you see? Public school takes children who are naturally adventurers because that's who we are as human beings. They're like the most purest of the humanity. And then over time, our culture, for whatever reason, and I think that's a great discussion as to how does our culture do this. That's a great question, great discussion. I'd love to have with some people who are looking at that. But when you turn it all around, it all comes down to people standing up, and I'm sitting, in their heart. I don't want to move the camera. In their heart. Right here. It's how many inches? Somebody says like what, 8 inches, 10 inches. That's where you just gotta go there. Now, if you're up here and you're not connected here, you're fucking a dangerous. Excuse my language, please. You're a dangerous weapon, and all you have to do. But when you're not, by the way, you're a dangerous weapon that is being utilized in a big chess game. I mean, you're being directed by someone who has an agenda to kind of control everything that happens such that there's an increasing flow. How do I do this? The camera's backwards, so it's easy. It's difficult. But the increasing extraction flow, let me do it this way. I think it's better that way. Extraction from the masses of wealth and power into an increasing few, and in that, this is where the synthetic is. Okay, they're people for sure, but they're acting in an agreement on an enterprise that is clearly sees people and planet as disposable resources. I mean, it's that simple. That's the filter. So witness what's going on from your heart. Get together with your friends and say, hey, what's your heart telling you? My heart's telling me this. Understand that the people that we're all the same. We're like cells on an earthly body. And we can operate, we can learn from the lesson of our physiology, the amazing collaboration, magical collaboration, cooperation. There's a conversation going on between our cells that is beyond space and time. It's photonic. It's a belief I have, which I can share how I came to that if you want. But it's a knowing. We're photonic. So that means that we, on humanity on this planet, can act. We have the ability to cooperate at that level, a photonic level, and, a nonlinear level, which is on the channel of compassion. It's all there. On the channel of fear, it's crashing and burning. It's suffering. It's stress. It's fear. It's percolating, boiling in fear, like that that story about the frog in the pot. It's not boiling. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and you throw the frog in the pot when the water's warm, just room temperature, and then you just turn up the heat gradually. The story is the frog will cook. That's what's happening to us. We gotta wake up. You gotta understand that the water's boiling, people. Because the other part of that story is you throw the frog in when the water's boiling and it leaps out. So let me just tell you, the water is boiling. Now, it's not something to be afraid of. The filter we have, understands bipartisan support for this airstrike in our representative government. We got the executive, the legislative branch of our government is in agreement with what the executive branch did unilaterally. So that means anybody, as far as I'm concerned, anybody who's like doing the rah-rah to this carnage, this lying carnage, just got to go. I mean, we need to, if we're going to, we have a constitution, we have this legislative branch. We need to clean house. Just everybody out. Out of the pool. Everybody out of the pool. And if you think, you deserve to be there, that's fine. Step out and let's run some elections. But how can we do that when in the last election all the tendrils were put in so that from that day forward elections can be secured? Outcomes of elections can be secured no matter what the people actually vote in the voting booth. That's a belief I have. I'm happy to explore that with you. I would point you, a resource that's much better than me is the sane progressive. Debbie. Just, listen. I mean, the fact that message is going out in that large a number is very encouraging to me. This is really easy, folks. Stand up in your heart, from your heart, witness the world. Take the information that you mostly get from luminous blue screens. I mean, it's mostly from there. So it's a TV or a computer monitor or a phone or a bunch of other things. A blue luminous screen, that's where this false narrative is being presented to you. Because you don't own that. I mean, you guys who think that Facebook is, you got to look at what the business model is for Facebook. We got to floodlight that business model. We got to take Monsanto and floodlight that business model and just share it. We got to go across the whole, what I see as a whole wheel of our relationships. So I have a relationship with food. I eat food. Who do I do business with, or who do I trade with to get food, or how do maybe I do it myself? I don't know. So what's the level of trust that I have with that entity?